Even the EBS is having various types, right? So if we talk about general, we are having two, GP2 and GP3. These are the most used EBS which we are using, and these are SSD only, right? These are the SSD solutions, right? Earlier we used to have the HDD as well, right? But HDD is, that it is having a physical disk over there, and it is having some sort of performance issues, right? But SSD, its data will reside in the chips, right? So your read write operation will be really fast, right? So you can see in terms of HDD, right? Its durability is this, right? 99.8 to 99.9, right? It is also two types, cold and throughput optimized. So its maximum throughput is going to 500 Mbps, and max IOPS is 500 to 250, right? That this amount of IOPS will not serve my purpose, and it is not supported in the boot as well. Boot means the C drive can't be your HDD, right? It is not allowed from AWS itself, because AWS knows the C drives requires a greater amount of input output operation. The HDD will not serve your purpose, and you will get the performance issues, right? These are the two.
If you mean to say HDD, we cannot place it in a C drive, right? So it should be placed outside of the C drive.
Yeah. If we attach another disk, then that can be your HDD, but C drive can't be.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's go. The other option is SSD. SSD is solid state drive. So earlier,
mostly will be going to SSD only.
Mostly we will go to SSD. So earlier we used to go with GP2, general purpose 2, right? But AWS recently launched GP3, right? Recently, it's more than a year and a half. They have launched GP3. And what limitation we are having with GP2? GP2, we are having only maximum 250 Mbps throughput, right? And IOPS are calculation like that disk size into 3. Like if you are having 100 GB disk, then the IOPS will be 300, right? We can't customize the IOPS, right? And similarly, the maximum it can be 16,000. Okay, but GP3 here we can get up to 1000 Mbps of throughput, right? 1 gig of throughput, and the minimum IOPS on GP3 is 3000. Even if I will create a 50 GB disk, it will give by default 3000 IOPS, and that is free. I don't need to pay anything extra for that. And even though with that high amount of performance, the GP3 is cheaper than GP2. And how AWS has achieved that? You know that every day the technologies keep evolving, right? So whatever resides in a rack, right? Let's say we will consume a rack, right? We will assume one rack is there, and it is having 1 TB of capacity, right? But if we talk about 1 year, 2 year down the line, the same size will now having 2 terabyte of capacity, right? Because we are minimizing the architectures, right? We are eliminating the extra resource, extra component, and we will try to compress the hardware, right? And it will serve as a multitasking, right? So you can see earlier we used to have very large hard disks, right? Now in a very small amount of memory cards, right? Like we are having hard disk, right? 100 GB, 200 GB hard disk. That's a quite large, right? But technology evolving so far that you are having the micro SD cards, right? That micro SD cards is now having similar amount of capacity, but it is way smaller than that. So what they are achieving is that in the same space they are adding more capacity, right? So definitely with less space consumed, they will offer you some extra, right? So AWS is giving you discount on GP3 even though it is having high performance. So that's the way technology will evolve. Maybe let's say 2 years down the line, one new will come, GP4. So GP4 will be better than GP3 in those particular cases. our cost will also get cheaper. So with the existing you say architecture, we will get a better capacity on that, right? So that's why GP3 is getting cheaper, right? And it is allow you. So earlier what we are doing, I will tell you the real world scenario. We were having GP2, and whenever we need very high IOPS, right, or very high throughput, then we will go with this provision IOPS volumes, right? These are there. So here I can customize the throughput IOPS. So we can go up to 64,000 IOPS, and here we can go up to 60,000 IOPS that I can customize, right? I can customize over here. So this is also IO1, the older generation. New generation is IO2. It is having very high durability as compared to IO1. Like latency is also good, sustain IO, but it is very, very costly. It is very, very costly, right? If we compare about this GP2. So in case of special cases, just like we are having hosting a SQL database, then only we will go with. And even in the SQL database, if you are having 8 disks, 1 or 2 disks will demand the high IO. Then we will only want those 2 disks. We will convert those to IO, provision IO1, IO2, right? But now when this GP3 came into the picture, there is no there is no need of use IO, because we can customize the throughput here only, right? In GP3 only. So nowadays, for I can say 98% or 99% of cases we are using GP3. Earlier it used to be 70 to 80% to GP2. Then we will use IO1 and IO2 as per our application requirement. But now 99% we are using GP3 only, because it serves the purpose for all kind of disks, right? So this is GP3, general purpose 3, right? So when you are creating a resource over here, and let's see the pricing here over as well, so that you will understand. So you can see the comparison over here, right? Okay. So it is 0.08 GB per month, right? GP3. And what is GP2? Volume 0.10. So you can see GP3 is 20% cheaper over here. Okay. It's 20% cheaper over here. Okay. IO2. IO2 is, we are comparing with GP2 only, right? For GP2, it is 20% cheaper. And if you see the IO2, it's 25% costlier, right? Here is 0.10, here is 0.125. Understood? And apart from that, you are also giving this much amount of money, 0.065 per IOPS, right? Then this plus this. So if you are having the 1000 IOPS, then you are paying $65 for this, right? 1000 IOPS, and let's say this size is 100 GB. Then 65 for this and $12 for this. See how much amount we are paying. $12 plus 65, right? $77 we are paying over here. But if you want,
Danish, what do you mean by volume of storage here? So volume is basically like like storage is basically you have 100 GB.
Yeah,
storage
and volume the same thing over here. They are just written GP2 as a volume. That's it.
Okay, both the storages only.
Yeah, both are storages only. It's just a type is changed, right? Here is GP3, here is GP2, here is IO2. Okay. So is that for the company, you can see that you are paying for 1000 IOPS, 100 GB disk, you are paying $67. But here in GP3, by default 3000 is free. So 100 GB disk, you will just paying $8. So see how much cheap it is if we compare to IO. So earlier it is really, really costly, right? But now it is way cheaper if you go to the GP3, right? GP3 is providing a great level of flexibility, right? So you can see over here 3000 IOPS is free. Over that 0.005 per IOPS, right? See, it is 0.065 and it is 0.005, 10 times cheaper over here. So that's the way now this GP3 overtook all other disk types, right? And we are using it extensively nowadays. SGD is, just see, SGD ST1, right? 0.045, half of the price of this. So if you are having some data that you need to attach a disk on EC2 and the data is not very frequent in use, so you can use this ST1. It is half of the price of what GP3 is, right? Similarly, cold one, the legacy thing, you can use that as well. If it is very in low demand, then you can use this SC1 as well, right? So these are different storage solution, but in 99% of the cases you will use GP3. And how we will go to that? Instance state. Oh, I permitted to do it. So let's launch a new instance again. That's Linux only. So when you are selecting 8, right, you will see the option. What kind of disk you need, right? So SSD, GP2, IO1, IO2, you are seeing over here. You can convert here only, right? You can select GP3 to this, right? Now, team will ask you that I need 5 storage, right? So what you will do? They select that one is 8, one is 10. Then you can change the instance type over here. Then you put it IO1. Similarly, 10. You can select IO2. Okay, go to advanced, because here you are not customizing the throughput, right? But here you can, right? So volume 1 is by default GP3, right? And you are getting 3000 IOPS. You can customize here, right? But if I select GP2 over here, there is no option of customization. See? Understood? As soon as I hit on GP3, I will see IOPS and throughput option over here. Okay. Volume 2, this will come as a default, the mount point of your drive. You don't need to change it, right? 10 GB, volume type IO2, here you can customize the IOPS, right? You can't customize the throughput, but if I select the GP3 over here, I can customize both in throughput and IOPS, right? So these are the volume 2 and 3. Let's change the 2 as well. So 2, I will select, let's say, SDD.
Tanish, IOPS is basically where you are trying to break down your space, right? That's what you mean by IOPS.
IOPS is input-output operations per second.
Okay. That is more operations per second. Okay.
Yeah, it's operation point of view. It totally depends when you provision your server, then you need to check its performance, and based on that you can customize the IO. Okay. So ST1, if you talk about the code, the minimum size is 121 GB. It can't be below than that, right? Okay. So if we talk about the disk sizes, right? So see, HDD is from 125 GB up to 16 TB. And similarly, for EBS, right, SSD, it can be from 1 GB to 16 GB. Right, minimum size is 1 GB and maximum size is 16 TB. So any EBS volume can go up to 16 TB, not more than that. Okay, that's a restriction from AWS side. So here we will select the storage, right? Different
It
different.
is a hard restriction, or is it, like we can request them? Like, it is a hard rule, right?
Sorry.
Is it a hard rule that we cannot go beyond 16 TB? Like,
Yeah. It's a hard code. We can't go beyond 16 TB. Okay. And that is not needed in the real world as well, right? If you have that amount of data, that data is not that means frequently we use. So you can use that other storage solution like S3, right? To put your inconsistent data, you can put over there. Okay. So I selected these three storage and I will launch a storage.
is it